A wedding can be a grand stage where promises of a shared future unfold, or it can be an uncomfortable parade of red flags. Here's how to tell the difference. It's not surprising that contempt is a red flag, but if you were at a wedding, would you be able to recognize it on someone's face? Glam spoke to physician, behavior analyst, and emotional intelligence and body language expert Dr. Jack Brown, who said, "In the context of a wedding, we would think a person who may normally express contempt may very well suppress it, but you'd be surprised." Brown explained that the most common facial expression of contempt is a snarl, which can also look like a snarling smile. Apart from that, an eye roll may also be indicative of contempt. And there's more. According to Brown, another manifestation of contempt is an elevated central forehead contraction coupled with a simultaneous mouth smile. Of course, if your partner displays contempt, your wedding day won't be the first time you can see it on their face, which means you might already be used to their contemptuous expressions and won't think much of it.
Why don't you say something, honey?
All right, honey. Shut up!
However, they could be a major sign that your marriage won't last, and they might be very obvious to those who haven't spent much time with the two of you together until the big day. According to our body language expert, eye contact is crucial throughout a relationship, including at the wedding. Dr. Brown told Glam, "Affectionate eye contact is a profoundly important behavior that is seen in healthy relationships, exceptions for those who are visually impaired and individuals on the autism spectrum. Of course, any accurate assessment depends strongly on the configuration of the rest of the face and body." Now, while eye contact may naturally decrease later on as the couple gets out of their honeymoon phase, there should be a noticeable amount of it at the wedding ceremony. According to Dr. Brown, the newlyweds should have frequent eye contact during the wedding, and their eyes should lock for considerably longer than they do with friends and family. After all, eye contact is an indication of love, and those who are in love tend to be all about lovingly staring into each other's eyes. While every couple is different and levels of public display of affection may vary, at a wedding the newlyweds should share some noticeable intimate moments. Dr. Brown explains, "When we have a high level of affection for another person, we touch our foreheads, temples, or periocular region to the other person's. A couple that does not instinctively and routinely display this specific behavior has lower levels of affection or none at all."
I love you.
Wrong answer.
Perhaps the most common display of affection is the act of hugging, which is why hugs provide a glimpse into the couple's future. Dr. Brown explains that the way a couple hugs can be an indicator of their relationship and how long it will last. If they are barely leaning in with their feet further apart than their chest, that might be a bad sign. According to Dr. Brown, couples who lean in when they hug have much lower levels of affection. This is a huge red flag. Apart from the hug itself, another major indicator is the couple's eyes during a hug. Dr. Brown tells us that those who close their eyes while hugging tend to be more in the moment, which is a major green flag. Those who keep their eyes open, on the other hand, aren't as affectionate, and that's not a good sign. We've all seen a few of these, if only in those rom-coms we all grew up on. However, many couples aren't fans of this wedding tradition. In fact, in 2023, a couple went viral after the cake-in-the-face smashing resulted in a divorce. That bride, Lori Baker, told Inside Edition,
And he took it and he just smashed it. I mean, it was all over my face. It went down my dress, my $2,000 dress.
Etiquette expert Jody Smith weighed in on the tradition for Fox Digital News and said that trying to humiliate your partner in order to go viral is a huge red flag. And we couldn't agree more. It certainly seems as if, in some cases, the cake can predict whether the couple stays together. Control and manipulation are huge red flags for any relationship, romantic or not. However, they are sometimes difficult to spot in a public setting. Speaking to Glam, Dr. Brown revealed, most all of these behaviors would indeed be displayed verbally, although they also would have accompanying body language displays. Now, manipulation has many faces, but according to our expert, the most common one is the elevated central forehead contraction together with a subtle mouth smile. In other words, the old fake smile.
Do you, Lydia, take this man to be She's a little bit nervous. Maybe I should answer for her, okay?
It's worth noting that manipulators are pros at hiding their true nature and motives, which is why it's often difficult to recognize them. One way to realize you're perhaps being manipulated, according to Psych Central, is if your partner makes you feel ashamed or guilty. Needless to say, a marriage in which one partner is manipulative doesn't stand a great chance, as most likely both sides are going to end up feeling miserable in the relationship. Your wedding day is often referred to as one of the happiest days of your life, and while expectations are high and can certainly interfere with your emotions, at the end of the day, you should be smiling at your wedding. In particular, you should frequently smile when you spot your partner, but not just any smile. As Dr. Brown explains, while insincere smiles have many variations, sincere smiles of true joy, happiness all have the following components: relaxed forehead, partially closed eyelids, concave up furrow in both lower eyelids, upturned mouth corners, and upward vectored cheek muscles. He added that contrary to popular belief, a sincere smile doesn't have to show many teeth, saying, "A sincere smile is actually suppressed so that no teeth are visible." So even though the wedding can also be a stressful experience, the two partners should find comfort in each other's faces, and those moments should bring out their sincerest smiles. Humor plays an important role in any relationship, especially a romantic one. After all, if you can't laugh about the same things, there's bound to be a disconnect. Dr. Brown elaborates on this idea, saying, "Couples who have similar types of wit have a higher level of cohesion. So in observing couples, it's important to watch their laugh dynamic. Do they laugh at similar moments? One-way wit-laughter dynamics are not nearly as healthy as bilateral laughing." According to Psychology Today, clever humor is often an indicator of intelligence and confidence, two things often considered attractive traits. Now, who is the funnier partner in a relationship remains a highly contentious topic. A 2022 study published in Personality and Individual Differences reported that out of 149 heterosexual couples, men judged their jokes to be better than those told by their partner. But at the end of the day, no matter who's telling the joke, there's no denying that a good sense of humor matters, and being able to share a good laugh on your big day bodes well for your relationship. Psychology Today reports that hand-to-face contact tends to increase if somebody is lying or being deceptive, as this is a common response the body has in fight or flight mode. Dr. Jack Brown couldn't agree more, telling Lamb, "By far, the number one reason for touching one's face is anxiety. While it must be interpreted in context, excessive facial touching may very well indicate significant anxiety and/or deception, which both are poor prognostic indicators in the context of a wedding." Now, as Dr. Brown explains, context and personal knowledge of the person are crucial for this sign. Someone who's easily stressed, and let's be real, weddings can be incredibly stressful, may experience plenty of anxiety during their big day. After all, some newlyweds hate having all the attention on them. So knowing if that anxiety is rooted in the fact that they're marrying someone they don't want to marry, or simply because there are hundreds of people they don't want to embarrass themselves in front of, is key. However, if the person is known to be a social butterfly, seeing them touching their face frequently during the wedding could be a red flag. You don't have to have a lavish ceremony for it to be stunning and memorable, but most of all, you don't have to break the bank for your marriage to last. And now we have the science to back it up. According to Dr. Olson, the more you spend on your wedding, the more likely you'll end up divorced. Unfortunately, the trend of spending the big bucks on your wedding day is rising in the US. In a 2023 interview with brides, Heather Lowenthal of the wedding planning company Posh Parties explained, "Everything has increased at least 15 to 20% from where it was even last year. People are throwing weddings and they're going all out." What's interesting is that plenty can be foretold way before the wedding, as the price of the engagement ring can also foreshadow the future of the marriage. Economics professors Andrew Francis Tan and Hugo M. Mialon wrote in their 2014 paper A Diamond is Forever and Other Fairy Tales, spending between $2,000 and $4,000 on an engagement ring is associated with a 1.3 times greater hazard of divorce as compared to spending between $500 and $2,000. So if you plan to live your happily ever after, stop focusing on the material side and simply enjoy a wonderful day celebrating your love with family and friends. That's all a wedding should be about anyway. Yes, spending too much on your wedding can predict a relationship that shows but doesn't grow. On the other hand, cheaping out can be another red flag.
I've been doing some thinking, and I don't need a big wedding.
Now, before you come at us because you had a small wedding, we didn't make this up, and we're not talking about spending more than you can afford, which is a whole other harbinger of disaster. But data scientist Dr. Randall Olson published a list of things that make your marriage stable, and one of them is how many people attended your wedding.
Come on, shall we go and say hello?
Do I have to?
Oh, it's our wedding. Of course you have to.
On his website, Olson writes, "Crazy enough, your wedding ceremony has a huge impact on the long-term stability of your marriage. Couples who elope are 12.5 times more likely to end up divorced than couples who get married at a wedding with 200+ people. This seems to directly relate to the support the family and friends are giving a couple, but of course, this isn't a one-rule-fits-all thing. In this case, context is everything. According to Dr. Brown, the family's body language is a great indicator of a marriage's future, and he got specific, explaining, in particular, how are each of the parents-in-law behaving with and when talking about their new family member. Any friction with one's parents-in-law at the beginning of a marriage is a poor prognostic indicator for the health of the marriage. Dr. Brown also explains that the body language of the in-laws when talking about their child's partner can reveal a lot about how they truly feel about them.
Today we celebrate all the...
I object!
Describing what to look out for, Brown says, fascinatingly, when speaking about another person who is not immediately present, although they may still be nearby, one's body language is often exaggerated. In this context, their nonverbal behavior is like a highlighter.
Why is Emma the maid of honor? Why am I not the maid of honor?
Of course, this sign is only important if there's a close relationship between the parents and their child. After all, it's not unheard of that a parent doesn't approve of their child's choice of partner, but that doesn't necessarily mean the marriage will fail.